Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Hey, let's go talk to Dan. He's in Beverly Hills, Florida, not California. Hey, Dan, thank you for your patience. You made it onto the after show.
Well, lucky me. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a podcast kind of listener, so normally I don't get to do the on-time show.
Okay.
And I just listened to podcasts from last week. And you took 2 calls about front sight. And and after the first one, I was talking to the radio, and then another fellow called in, and he basically had the same comment that I did. Maybe just that individual shooter, they said, hey, just close your damn eye and go about your business. And you made an assumption that maybe they told him something else, and you lamented on that, just as you did on the first call. So after I was done listening to that, I said, wonder what Tom has, wonder what his deal is with front sight. So that's my question, Tom. What's your deal with front sight?
Have you been to front sight?
You know, I have, but I'm not sure that that equates, because I've got my issues with front sight. I could talk about those, but
well, I'm curious. I tell everybody who asks, I say, look, I've never been there.
You kind of reminded me of CNN talking about something Trump said.
Okay, I don't get that, but
it's not like a media technique, how you make an assumption and then lament on that for a while when that wasn't actually said.
Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about now. I'm lost completely.
Well, the guy called in and said they had me close my eye, and when you got all done, you didn't ask him any questions, but when you got done with him, you lamented on how ridiculous it would be for a training place to have somebody close their eye when they should be shooting with both eyes open. So you made an assumption without any information. And then
wait a minute. I had the information. He said they told him to shoot with one eye closed, right?
Exactly.
And I said, I don't know of anybody anywhere who teaches self-defense shooting with a handgun with one eye closed.
And I don't either. But if you got a guy that's just kind of a problem or something like that, and I'm sure it's the same thing with gun sight where there's a lot of people, if there's somebody that's got some individual thing that you're not going to be able to correct, it's like, okay, if it works for you, do it. Just leave me the hell alone.
Okay, I mean, that's one other opinion. My opinion on front sight comes from...
That second caller gave you the choice of backing out of that and said maybe they just did that for him, and that maybe that isn't their policy to train people to shoot with one eye closed. And you
very
said,
possible.
Well, yeah, I didn't ask him that question, and then you went off and what if they had him close his dominant eye? And then you lamented on how ridiculous it would be for them to have him close his dominant eye. And it's like, okay, Tom's got something with front sight.
And you're right. And we're not going to talk about it because I don't like to get sued. They have a history of suing people in the media who say negative things about them. So that's what the issue is. Yes.
All right. Well, it was obvious that you had that, and it was kind of strange that you gave the disclaimer. And
good. Now you know what. Now you know the backstory.
Hey Dan, have you ever Googled front sight complaints?
Oh, I've been a member for whatever years, and I've changed a couple of email addresses. He ruins the email address, so I get all that. But the actual when you get there and you do the training thing, and I'm a shooter. I shoot USPSA and Steel Challenge, and so from a self-defense kind of thing, I learned stuff, and I thought that was fine. I've not been to any other major training places, but I intend to.
Well, and let me just jump in and say, and I have said for many years, if you get a chance to go to front sight, you should go, because I think all training is worthwhile. I think you should go to multiple schools, and I don't think there's anything in the world wrong with going to whatever school you want to go to and understand that it may not be the end-all and be-all, and I would encourage people to go to multiple schools. But any training is worthwhile, and I do believe that, and I've said that for many, many years. So it's like, I don't know what it is you're looking for. I mean, if somebody tells me I shoot left eye dominant and they told me to close one eye so that I could shoot left eye dominant with a handgun, my answer to that is that's unnecessary, because I shoot left eye dominant with right-handed with a handgun. and know a zillion people who do the same thing, and you do not have to have somebody close one eye. That was the information I was given. Also, I want you to think about this. Jim will tell you he's the voice in my head saying 60 seconds, 30 seconds, right, Jim?
Yeah.
And so whatever the deal is, I often don't, I would love to have more time, but when he's saying 30 seconds, what he means is at the end of 30 seconds, Tom, you can keep talking, but nobody's going to hear you anymore.
Bye-bye.
Because the commercial's going to run regardless.
I think that's great. I've been listening to the show for a long time. I think it's great. That one just sounded out of character.
Are you in the media, Dan?
No.
What is your issue with FrontSight?
Oh, my issue is just having I think he sends about 4 or 5 emails every single day. It feels like the pyramid scheme thing, so that's annoying. So if I'm able to ignore that and eventually get there and train, of course, now with the COVID thing, we'll have to see how long it takes for.
That's interesting you say that, 'cause I've heard that something about like a timeshare deal or a real estate deal, and that may have changed over the years, that there was that aspect. You actually, originally at least, you kind of had to sit through the pitch for the timeshare pitch on the deal. I don't know if you go that far back with FrontSight.
I don't, so I don't have that experience.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history there, and like I say, haven't been there, so I try not to badmouth people who I haven't been there. And as I say, I think any training is worthwhile, and from what I hear, people like you who said I've been there and the training was good, I'll take your word for it. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, well, I learned stuff, so
good.
And I've been shooting a long time, and I'm a competitive shooter, so I took those classes because I didn't feel like I knew really how to defend myself, and I'm not sure I still do. But
would you consider going to another?
They better not get in the way.
would you consider going to another school to do a comparison?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I plan to do that. I'll do the gunfight thing, or if there's something more local for me, I'll do that.
Right.
And I've had the opportunity to train with grandmasters, USPSA, a grandmaster and one master. So. But that's not defensive practice. So
right, different deal. But you do learn something from each place you go. And I think whenever somebody says, "Well, I've been to such and such, and it was great," I always ask, "How do you know?"
Exactly.
I mean, you can tell me I had a great time. That's great. And I learned things, and that's great. But when they say it's one of the best, I go, well, there's no way for you to know unless you've been to others. I mean, so I've been to SIG Academy, and I've been to
you need a reference point. Yeah.
You need a comparison, exactly. So I'm not saying it is or isn't. I just don't know, and I haven't been there. But I always tell people, you need to go to more than one before you can really understand, how good it was. And you may come away going, oh, that was fabulous. That was great. I love that. So there you go. Yeah, I know, Jim. I was looking at that. He just. That was Caleb when he wrote the thing from Gun Nuts. The 4 reasons I'll never go to FrontSight.
Yeah, worth googling or.
Well, you got to understand that's Caleb too, and he was provocative in everything he did and has done. So you got to take that with a grain of salt as well.
I am a small business owner, so I quit looking at the reviews years ago because the only person that writes a review is the one that you upset.
Oh boy, isn't that the truth? Exactly. Hey Dan, I appreciate your patience and explaining what you're thinking there and pass along your experience that you've had with FrontSight. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.